It's someone who's committing violence and who's trying to organize other people to commit violence.
Hey guys, Alf here. Today I wanted to talk to you about Yvette Felarca. She's a middle school teacher from Northern California, and she leads a militant left-wing activist group called Bamn, which stands for By Any Means Necessary. As you've seen in the intro, this woman promotes violence. She incites violence. She commits violence herself. She's proud of this fact. That's what her group does. She says that opposing protesters or whatever are fascists, and the only way to stop fascists to be violent. She excuses this by saying that fascists or attacking fascists is technically self-defense, since fascists just by being who they are assaulting minorities and women and people of different sexualities. Personally, I think she's fucking evil as shit. Her organization is evil. There's other people above her who are also evil. The mayor of Berkeley sided with her during the Berkeley riots, which is probably a reason why the police didn't do anything. This woman has made a couple of television appearances talking about her side and being very hypocritical. But in the end, she is what she's fighting against. She is the fascist. She's an anti-fascist fascist. Yeah. Or she's just a fascist pretending to fight fascism, but she's worse than the people she's fighting. I bring this up recently because she was arrested recently, finally, for this assault that she committed during a protest over a year ago. When the video evidence has been on YouTube for the longest time, people have watched it, criticized her, and nothing was going on. Finally, recently, the police finally pressed charges against her, arrested her, and now she's trying to get out of it and say that this was self-defense, the video was taken out of context, which is bullshit, and things like that, saying that the police should drop the charges, that she shouldn't even go to court because this was self-defense because she was attacking a fascist. If you watch the video, I showed clips of it at the beginning, I'll show it again, but you can see that the male protester is just holding his flag, walking. She walks up to him and she's trying to restrict him from moving forward, being loud to prevent him from speaking. He was protesting free speech. All he wanted to do was wave his flag around and protest for free speech. She wasn't having it. She said, "You're a fascist." So if you see, she starts punching him. She is the one assaulting him. He did nothing. He was the one assaulting him. Eventually, seeing that he's assaulting him, other people come in and start attacking him. Next thing you know, he's on the ground. People are kicking him. The cops got to come and save him. They should have saved him earlier, the second she was punching him, but they did come in and stop it eventually. But they should have been arrested at that moment and gone to prison. So the fact that they didn't is quite ridiculous. The fact that she got away with this for like a year with no problem is ridiculous. And the fact that she's trying to get out of it now is ridiculous. This woman should be in jail. She should be convicted of assault. She should be convicted of inciting riots. These are non-debatable. The video evidence shows it all. There's nothing she could do to get out of this. If they do find her not guilty, then yeah, the U.S. justice system is fucked. So let's get into some videos here.
Now, Yvette, thanks a lot for joining us. So you did a bunch of interviews after, and you were asked about this, and you were, to your credit, I think, very straightforward about it and unapologetic. And you said, yeah, this guy was a fascist, Milo's a fascist, and we shut him down. You didn't pretend otherwise. We shut him down, and that's what you do with fascists. I think I'm characterizing what you said correctly. Just so we can understand the standard here, what is a fascist?
So a fascist is someone who's organizing a mass movement that's attacking women, immigrants, black people, other minority groups in a movement of genocide. That's what a fascist is. Okay.
So it's someone who's committing violence?
And it's someone who's committing violence and who's trying to organize other people to commit violence.
Okay.
And Milo Yiannopoulos is a fascist.
So pretty funny, right? She doesn't even know what a fascist is. Obviously, a fascist is somebody who follows the philosophies of fascism, but fascism is an authoritarian and nationalistic right-wing system of government and social organization. I guess it can do with violence, but it doesn't have to do with violence. It's basically authoritarianism. It's like we rule, you do what we say, and if you don't, and think what we say, and if you don't, then we'll punish you. But yeah, she has no idea what fascism is. She just like, you're evil, I'm gonna call you a fascist and a Nazi, without you actually being a fascist or a Nazi or even acting like that. Protesting for freedom of speech isn't authoritarian. It isn't totalitarianism. It's not asking for dictatorship. It's not forcing people to follow a certain code of conduct or philosophy. This is in regards to Milo's speech. Her and her group of people on her side who went to prevent speech with violence. They're the fascists. Milo was just there to speak to people. He wasn't there to attack anyone, to advocate that anyone attack anyone. So obviously this isn't fascism. She's an idiot and she's the fascist. And then she's going to call Milo a fascist. Notice the blatant hypocrisy there of her saying that fascists are violent and instigate violence or something or promote violence. She's the one who's doing that. The people she's calling fascists, like Milo, are not the ones doing that. Milo has never been violent towards anyone, advocated violence. She's the one who's violent. She advocates violence. So it's pretty ridiculous. As you can see, this woman is either mentally retarded or fucking, I don't know, delusional, or maybe she's just uses this as an excuse. She knows she's violent. She wants to be violent, but she uses this as an excuse to make it seem justified or that she's doing something good when she's really doing something fucking evil.
Do you think, you're not answering my question, that people like Milo, who you've decided are fascists, should be allowed to speak in public? You said they weren't allowed to speak at Berkeley.
He should not be allowed to speak in
corner?
public to spread his racist and misogynistic and homophobic lies. No, he does not have the right to do that.
What about
when he's using his speech to whip up attacks on people? No, he doesn't have the right to do that.
So
and to spread lies about our humanity? No, he doesn't.
Okay, so you're not allowed to say things that you think are untrue.
So I'm cutting clips out for the sake of saving time, but you can see the full interview. You can find it on the internet. It's easy to find. But basically, Tucker's asking her, what should we do with fascists? If, you're against fascists, what should we do with them? She dances around the question and starts saying that Milo believes in genocide of anyone who's not white, that he's, a neo-Nazi and this and that. And, Tucker tells her, we have no evidence of that. He's never said anything to that. She's insinuating that he secretly does that and they secretly is recruiting people, which is silly conspiracy shit. It's retarded. But yeah, that's what she thinks. And he's trying to ask her, what should we do with these people? Should we jail them? Should we do this? Do we that? Should they be allowed to speak? He's like, say if we say it in a bus, if he sees sitting next to someone in a bus and he tells him about it, should he be allowed to do that? She's saying no, he shouldn't be. Like, well, you're against free speech then, right? That's not even constitutional. And she's just making up general bullshit, saying Milo makes up lies about the racist stuff and all that. He's never done that. Watch any of his speeches. What lies has he said? What has he said that's racist or homophobic? I guess you can make an argument for if he's transphobic or not, but I mean, he should have the right to say that. If anything, what she says is that he whips people up into a frenzy to attack people. If anything, it's the other way around. When he speaks, it's the opposite side that gets whipped into a frenzy and attacks people. Look at Berkeley. Look at most of the times Milo goes in to speak somewhere, people get attacked by the opposing position who don't want him to speak. This is textbook fascism. This is textbook totalitarianism. What she wants is an Orwellian world. She wants 1984. She wants thought crimes to be prosecuted.
But if you're trying to spread racism and hostility, misogyny, rape, whip up people to lynch people, or to certainly have that mentality to rape people or to lynch them, absolutely not. And any decent human being, whether it was in a classroom or at a restaurant, if they heard someone doing that, would turn around and tell them, you need to stop talking. You are not welcome here. This is not a safe environment. You need to go. Well, that's what we did at UC Berkeley, and that was a good thing.
So funny enough, she's talking about promoting violence. Anybody who's violent and promoting violence needs to go, and this and that. She's the one being violent. She's the one promoting violence. She's the one whipping people into a frenzy to attack other people, physically attack other people. She said that if you hear someone doing that, anybody would turn around and tell them that they don't want to hear that and that they need to go. And that's what they did at Berkeley. No, that's not what you did at Berkeley. You did that originally. It didn't work. He still got to speak. So you got physical. You guys attacked. You attacked people who were there to hear the speech. You pepper sprayed some girl for no reason. I seen a guy get knocked over on that, and people were kicking him in the head, stomping him. I'm sure that guy got really hurt. It's pretty fucking sad and sickening. And, they lit fires, they trashed the place. It got to the point where the police had to tell Milo that they needed to cancel the event because he was in danger. You stopped speech through threats, not because you told them, oh, we don't want to hear you here, you have to go. No, you fucking whipped up a frenzy and put people's lives in danger. You're a sick individual. You are the Nazi you are trying to stop.
And if there was someone in my classroom who was espousing rape or genocide or attacks on Muslims, I would certainly make sure that I stood up for the rest of my students and told them they need to stop. And if they refused to, they would need to leave.
Would you hit them?
In fact, fascism isn't just about abstract. No, I'm not finished though yet. And I'm not finished yet. If there is a fascist in any situation that I was in, I would call for other people to take action too. But it's not just about the immediate moment. Right, it's also within the context of building a movement.
But I don't want this to be abstract.
And there is a movement against Donald Trump
You're getting abstract.
And against fascism.
I want to bring this back to the concrete, as you said, and rightly so. So if there was a student in your class who started espousing what you believe is fascism, and you said you need to leave, you need to be quiet, you need to leave, and he didn't leave, would you hit him as you hit that protester? Would you beat him up?
No, of course not. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people who, you know what? In Sacramento, there were fascists who had knives tied at the ends of sticks, and they stabbed people, including
Not the man that you hit. He looked kind of unarmed to me.
Oh, yes, actually, they did. And it's funny to you, but it's actually not funny to the rest of us. And that's why we take this really seriously.
I know that you take it seriously, and that's why I'm asking you a really simple question.
But I am serious as a heart. I am serious as a heartbeat,
too. I believe you. I believe that you're serious.
And we're not talking about a classroom. We're talking about people who are trying to kill and murder people and who've already done it.
That part is great. I love Tucker's question there. So basically, yeah, she said if she had a student that was had fascist ideas or something, which isn't really fascism. She's, like I said before, she doesn't understand what the fuck fascism is. She said that she would tell them they would have to leave. So he said, would you hit him? Yeah, that is the question. She said, no, of course not. But she was hitting that dude. So she would hit them. That's what she's all about. She's all about violence. She's an evil bitch. Talking about, oh, well, they had knives on sticks. That guy didn't have knives on sticks. That guy was alone. He was by himself holding a flag, and you fucking attacked him. You're an evil, violent bitch. As you can see, she's exposed here. There's no way that she could work around it. She tries to and says, oh, it's not about that. It's about preventing movement. Well, you're lumping all these people together. That guy didn't seem violent to me. That guy could have been violent. You came up and started punching him. People were grabbing at him, and he didn't attack anybody. He still tried to hold his ground, not attack anybody, and just try to stay up while everybody knocked him down and kicked his ass. And he never attacked back. Watch that video. He never attacks back. Who is the evil here? Who is the person in the wrong? Obviously, she is, and the people with her. Yeah, so I'm not going to finish the rest of the clip. I mean, you could see it online. It's pretty much the same thing over and over again. Tucker keeps pointing out free speech. She keeps making up bullshit and basically sounding fucking delusional. It doesn't even make sense. She's just, it really just sounds like she just keeps trying to justify being violent and calling these people Nazis and white supremacists. I was like, they're not. These people are fucking nowhere near that. You don't know what fascism is. You don't know what Nazis are. These people aren't violent. They've never... I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's violent people within that movement, but the movement itself isn't violent. You never hear them preach about violence. You never hear them say anything about violence. Who you do hear people say about violence is Bam, who's constantly telling people that you need to attack these people. You need to hurt these people. So, yeah, we'll move on to another clip and see what she says in this one.
First of all, tell me, what specifically is it about Milo Yiannopoulos that you and others have an issue with?
Well, first of all, Milo Yiannopoulos is a fascist. He's a white supremacist. He's funded by Steve Bannon and Breitbart. He's an acolyte of Donald Trump. And he was on the UC Berkeley campus to try to recruit more fascists and to wage attacks on Muslim students, immigrant students, women, and trans.
More lies and bullshit. I mean, listen, I'm no Milo fan. I'm not conservative. I don't believe in his views, in most of his views. But he's not any of these things. He's not a white supremacist. He's none of these things. She has no idea what she's talking about. This is fear-mongering, basically. She doesn't like his point of view, so she fear-mongers. She exaggerates it, calls him all these things that people see as being evil without actually having proof of this. You notice in none of these clips has she ever quote Milo and say, listen to this quote. This shows that he's a white supremacist. She never does that. She has no citations. She's a fucking psychopath. That's all it is. Straight up.
I think that the left has been far too timid for way too long. And it's why we've even gotten in this position where we even have someone like Donald Trump leading a fascist movement as the president of the United States. We need to make sure that we have more mass protests, more militant protests that are mass and militant. And the reality is that these aren't people just putting forward their ideas. There's white supremacists who've already murdered 6 Muslims just 5 days ago in Quebec. There was a woman in Korea, or not from Korea, but who was from Korea in Los Angeles, who was just beaten down by a white supremacist. We have a right to defend ourselves, and not only a right, we have an obligation to do that, not just for each other, but for our communities too.
Psycho. You hear this shit? So basically, Trump has a fascist movement? What is she talking about? Again, just like with Milo, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Republican. I think he's a fucking goon. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about Trump. I'm not a fan of his. But he's not fucking fascist. He's not running a fascist movement. What has he done that is fascist, right? I had this argument with someone on Twitter the other day where I was saying, that he's not fascist. And they were like, oh yeah, what about him saying things are fake news and this, that? That's not fascist. That's just an opinion. It's not like he's saying CNN is fake news, shut it down, and the government shut it down the next day and killed everybody in it. That would be fascist. That's not fascist to call out a news station, say they're fake. And by the way, CNN is fucking fake news. So is Fox, so is MSNBC. All corporate news is fucking fake. They're corporate. They only give a shit about money. They don't give a shit about the truth. They sensationalize everything. Duh. Fucking dumb bitch. Yeah, sorry if I sound angry. This bitch makes me so angry. I hate people who resort to violence like this. It really angers me. Then she says, oh, we have the right to defend ourselves. You're not defending yourselves. You're preemptively attacking people that you're not sure are going to attack you. You're preemptively attacking people who aren't being violent, and you don't know if they'll ever be violent. But yet you're attacking them because they're part of a group that you believe are violent. What if, you're the ones being violent? What if that happens to you? What if somebody attacks somebody in your group who's not violent because you're violent? Then what are you going to say? They're going to say, oh, I have the right to defend myself. Your group has attacked my group many times, right? Yeah, so I cut those clips short because I can do this for hours and make an hour-long video, and I don't want to make it that long. It's already going to be pretty long. And you can find these online easily and check them out. She did go on in that interview and blame the guy who runs the college or whatever that was in charge of having Milo speak there, and blamed him for not backing down to the threats. She said this all could have been stopped, this all could have prevented if he just canceled the speech. So basically she's saying it's not the fault of the people who make threats, it's the fault of the people who don't back down from threats, which is fucking insanity. How is that sane? How can a sane human being say something like that, right? Like, say I walk up to somebody, let's say I'm going to rob somebody, right? And I go up to somebody and say, hey, give me your money or I'm going to shoot you. The guy doesn't give me his money, so I shoot him. And then she says, well, it's that guy's fault for not giving him his money. He should have just gave him his money. Well, it's not his fault. It's always the fucking criminal's fault, regardless of whether the guy yeah, it's probably a better idea for him to say, okay, here's my money. Yeah, that's probably a better idea and he'll be more likely to survive. But it's still the criminal's fault, right? It's people like her who will say, like with the rape culture stuff and say, hey, it's no excuse because of what she was wearing or how she was acting. You can't use that excuse no matter what. It's not the woman's job. You know what I'm saying? It's the man's job to not rape. So, it's basically the same thing. This is the hypocritical stance these people have. I'm saying no matter what the girl does, it's always the man's fault when it comes to a rape, which I agree with. I'm not saying that's wrong. But then when it comes to this circumstance, she has a completely different philosophy, and it's not the fault of the criminals, the people who are threatening violence. It's the fault of the people who didn't back down. How fucking ridiculous is that? So the reason I'm making this video now and the reason this has come up again is because, like I said, she's recently been arrested for assaulting that guy at that protest over a year ago and inciting a riots. Because, obviously, as you've seen, she incites riots. That's what she does. She whips people up to be violent at protests. She wants to have the charges dropped and This was, I think this was yesterday. I have a news clip, and we're going to watch it and see what she says.
These charges are false against me. They should be dropped.
She gave a short statement but did not answer any questions.
Standing up against fascism and the rise of Nazism and fascism in this country is not a crime. We have a right to defend ourselves.
Her attorney blames police officers for not stepping in earlier to keep the peace.
I think anyone has the right to self-defense. And I think what's shown on that video is partial and incomplete.
But some people who have seen the video say that's nonsense.
I think it's crazy when you have clear evidence. I think it would be a real travesty of justice if they actually dropped the charges.
Felarca is scheduled to teach at her Berkeley Middle School at the end of the month. The school legally cannot fire her unless she's convicted of a felony.
So yeah, fucking crazy, right? She says she was defending herself against fascism and that she shouldn't be, she shouldn't have charges pressed against her because she was fighting against fascism. You would still have to go to court regardless, right? Because you have to prove that you were doing that. That's the point of going to court. That's how our laws work. You would have to prove that you didn't, that guy was a fascist in the first place, even if it was illegal to attack a fascist, which it's not. You would have to prove that guy was a fascist in the first place anyway. You assaulted a guy. You can't just say someone's a fascist. You have to prove that. Yeah, she's psychotic. That's crazy. The other lady was talking, you heard the other lady talking about saying that she was defending her. We have the right to defend ourselves. Like, you weren't defending yourself. You were doing the attacking. She was doing the assault. There was no defense there. In fact, the guy that she was assaulting didn't even defend himself. He just, he was just bearing down and hoping he fucking didn't get killed. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? They attacked an innocent man who was just walking around with a flag, basically. And they were fucking beat on him horribly. They're stomping on him. God forbid the cops weren't there. What would have happened if the cops didn't come and intercede? That would have been crazy. And then her lawyers trying to say that they want to blame it on the cops for not stepping in sooner. Yes, the cops should have stepped in sooner to prevent that violence, but they shouldn't have stepped in sooner to prevent violence against anyone but that guy. The second she attacked that guy and she was punching him in the gut, the cops should have came in, grabbed her, fucking pushed her to the ground, handcuffed her, and taken her to jail because she assaulted somebody. Now, so regardless, she'd be in there. Even if you blame the cops, you want to blame the cops, fine. But regardless if you blame the cops or not, she's still at fault. She still should be put to jail. She still did the assault. These people are fucking psychotic. They have no fucking mental faculties to reason, right? This is insane. Am I the only one who sees this fucking insanity here? How this makes no fucking sense? Oh, man. Well, I've got myself frustrated enough. If this woman does not go to jail, I'm going to be fucking fuming. This is going to be insane. And it's going to show the incredible bias of our system. Like, she's in California. We know how California goes. So we'll see. Really, I really hope they don't drop the charges. That would be insane in the first place. Just dropping the charges. Then if she goes to trial and is seen as innocent, that's going to be insane as well. So let's see how it goes. Personally, she should go to jail. She should be given the full extent of the law on assault and inciting riots because it's proven. We've seen it here, man. There's no way she could be innocent of this. All right, guys. Before I fucking go insane and pull out all my hair, let's call it a night. Thanks for watching, man. I've reached over 100 views. I'm pretty happy about that. I did a live stream for it. Might be live streaming some more, possibly every Saturday. We'll see. But things are going good. I'm going to continue my Marvel series, Marvel and Diversity, next for my next video. So it's going to be about women in Marvel, staff and characters. So bear with me. Videos take a while to make, and I'm still kind of new at this. I'm not too quick at it, so bear with me. I'll try to do the best I can and try to get it out as soon as possible. Love you guys. Thank you for watching, and help me out if you care to. If not, well, just watching is enough. So again, thank you guys. I'll follow.
I Jeff, I'd better warn you right now, I'm not easy.
I'll bet. Oh, I'd like to go to a movie tonight or something.
No way,